Olá a todos, espero que estão bem, espero que estão saudáveis e espero que estão a passar bom tempo com as vossas famílias. Howdy, y'all. This is Mr. Sousa, Portuguese teacher at Turlock High School, as you can tell from my shirt. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and I hope you're spending some good quality time with your families. If you know me, those who are my students, you know that on Fridays, usually I teach you a Portuguese song. Since we haven't been in class these days and probably won't for a while, it sounds like, I decided that I would do a different little music lesson. The school has been asking us to participate in these little TUSDtv episodes, just to kind of stay in touch and let you guys know that we're alive and that we're still thinking about you guys and we still care about you, and still assigning a few things and still doing some stuff here, even though we have to be working from home. But I decided that I would do a different little music lesson for you guys, for everyone, not just for my students, but for everyone out there, just to enjoy a little bit of music and to kind of have some fun trying to figure out the names of some songs and some bands and stuff like that. I'm a Portuguese teacher, but I also happen to be a musician. I play bass guitar for church and for different things. But I also play for a Portuguese dance band in the area. Unfortunately, a few of our gigs have been canceled due to this quarantining stuff. But a very, very good band, Portuguese dance band. We play at the local festas here all over the state of California. Anyway, so what I decided to do is I would play for you guys a few songs on the bass, just a few little seconds of famous bass lines. And my challenge to you is to see if you can name the song, the band, if it happens to be a band, and if it does happen to be a band, and this is a lot more obscure, you're probably gonna have to look this one up, is the name of the bass player that plays bass for this band of these songs. I'm going to start with some very easy songs, some songs that like everybody knows, that are very, very common. You'll probably know the name of the song. You might know the name of the band. You might have to look that up, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll learn all about it and figure out what these bands are and what these songs are and everything. If you're watching this on TUSD TV, just kind of like think the answers in your head and try to guess. Maybe ask family members if they can figure it out as well. If you're watching this on Instagram, you can leave a comment below, or if you follow me, you can DM me. What is the name of the band? The name of the song, the name of the band, and again, if it's a band, is the name of the bass player in that band. Here we go. Again, I'm going to start with some very easy ones, very common ones. Here's a song that like everybody knows. I think our Turlock High School marching, the pep band, the band that plays for the football games and stuff, they even play this song. It's a very popular song. Everybody knows it. But do you know the name of the song, the name of the artist? And here we go. Again, I'm sure you've heard that. Do you know the name of the song? Do you know the name of the band? And if they have a bass player, I think that the lead guitarist for this group actually records the bass parts as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong, and they might actually have a bass player. I'm gonna look that up. I don't even know the name of the bass player if they do have one. Okay, next song. This is one of the most famous bands in the world. This is a famous song, not one of their most famous songs maybe, but it's a very famous song, and the bass line is like the most famous part of the song. Actually, it's very famous because another band redid it recently. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and this band also got really famous for having redone this song. So, do you know this song and the artist? Again, very popular bass line, super popular band, probably the most famous band on the face of this planet. And the bass player is probably the single most famous bass player in like the popular music world. Not only was he very famous for that band, but after the band ended, he continued to do stuff on his own and still made a name for himself even after being with that super famous band. Do you know the name of the song? Do you know the name of the band? And do you know the name of the bass player? This one, if you're going to know any bass player, you're going to know this bass player. Next, let's see. Okay, if you're one of my students and you've seen that you've been there on the days that I think I've brought a bass into class on 2 or 3 different Fridays of the year, just kind of for fun. Sometimes because someone wanted to buy one or whatever else, and so I brought it in for them to play it or see it or whatever else. But in fact, I've brought this bass in. And I'm going to do a little free advertising here. I'm actually selling this bass in case anybody's interested. Really nice little bass, but I have enough other basses and I'm looking to sell this one. If you're interested, DM me. But this next song is one of my favorite songs to play on a bass. Whenever I grab a bass guitar, I don't know why, I just love playing this song. It's a really groovy bass line, super popular artist, and very, very popular song. Do you know the name of the song? Do you know the name of the artist? And he just hires bass players to record and for his live shows, or did, hint. So I don't know the name of his bass players. He just hires people for this. So this one is just the name of the song and the name of the band. I love that bass line. Again, very popular artist, very popular song. Do you know them? Next one. This is a somewhat popular song. A few different bands have covered it and redone it, but I'm not sure if you'll know it by the bass line. So. That's one of my favorite bass lines to play in the world. My Portuguese band does cover that song. I absolutely love playing that song. Again, somewhat popular song. Do you know the name of the song? The Artist, one of the most popular rock bands of all time, especially back in the 70s and 80s. And this one is a very famous bass player. Not as famous as the other one I was talking about, but very famous bass player who is one of my favorite bass players. He's considered a genius in the rock bass world. We got just a couple more. Okay, this next one is a little bit more obscure. The band is very, very famous, but the song is not one of their most famous songs. And it uses a technique called slap bass. I've heard it. I've never really cared for it. I don't like the way it sounds too much. But when I heard this song, instantly I thought, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I got to learn how to play that. So I learned how to play slap bass in order to learn how to play this song. So I'll play a little bit of like the intro, and then I'll go into the slap bass part of the verses of this song. So again, a very famous band, but not such a famous song. Song? Do you know the name of that band? And in this band, do you know the name of the bass player? I don't even know that. I'm gonna look that up. Okay, last song. This one's kind of 2 in 1. This song was made popular by one of the bands that I actually the band that wrote this song was again I think back in the 70s, and it was an artist that I have already done a song for. But in the I don't know if it was like mid 90s, late 90s, another artist did a song with, and it was his most famous song, I believe, with pretty much the same bass line. He was accused of stealing the bass line from the original artist, and then he claimed that he didn't because it was different, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know the politics behind it. But this is kind of 2 in 1. It's a simple little bass line. I'm just going to play a couple of seconds of it. You'll recognize it right away. You'll probably recognize the later one, the one that was done in like the 90s. But this is an original bass line from a song done by a famous rock band in the 70s. I think the song came out in the 70s. You'll recognize this. Again, this one's two for one. Do you know both songs? Do you know both artists? And again, I've already played a song by this one, a very famous bass player in the rock world. Do you know the name of the bass player who wrote this bass line, the original? That's all that I got for you guys. Again, I hope that you guys are doing well at home. Please continue to check your Google Classroom if you can. I know that some of my students have not been responding too much. I hope that you have Wi-Fi at home, or that you have a place that you can go to get Wi-Fi. Please continue checking that. Continue checking and doing your assignments. Us teachers, some of us are continuing to assign stuff, and we'd like to hear from you and to see how you're doing. I hope you enjoyed this little lesson. Again, this instrument is for sale. It's a Hohner B bass. If you're interested, DM me. And I hope you guys are staying safe and having good quality time with your families. I know that I am. I'm taking advantage of this time to spend some time with, at least with my family. I'm not spending too much time with anybody else, of course, because of the quarantining, but at least with my family and my 2 roommates that I've got for this quarantining situation. We've been getting to know each other really well and having a great time. Hope you are as well. Again, I'd love to hear from you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this little video. Enjoy. Bye-bye.